Long ago, in a quiet village surrounded by dusty fields and tall acacia trees, there lived a poor farmer named Kofi. Kofi's hut stood at the edge of the village, where the land slowly faded into dry plains. His house was small and simple. The sun had burned the land for many months. The river that once sang through the village had become a thin line of muddy water. Crops that once stood tall with green leaves had withered and died. Kofi had worked harder than anyone, digging the earth every morning. He prayed to the sky, hoping the clouds would return. But the clouds never came. Soon his granary became empty and his goats grew thin. One evening, as the sun slowly sank behind the hills, Kofi returned home with tired steps. His stomach growled with hunger. Inside his hut, he opened a small clay pot. At the bottom, there was only enough maize meal to cook one final bowl of porridge. "This is the last food I have," he whispered. He lit a small fire outside his hut. The dry wood crackled softly in the fading light. Kofi sat beside his small cooking pot, watching the porridge slowly thicken. "Tomorrow," he thought sadly, "I do not know what I will eat." Just as he lifted the pot from the fire, he heard a faint voice behind him. "Good evening, my son." Kofi saw an old man standing near the gate. The stranger looked tired, his clothes dusty, and he leaned on a wooden walking stick. "I have walked many miles, and I have not eaten since morning. Could you spare a little food for a hungry traveler?" Kofi's heart became heavy. He looked down at the small bowl of porridge in his hands. It was the last meal he had. Kofi thought about the empty fields. But then he remembered his mother's words. A hungry stranger may be a blessing wearing torn clothes. Kofi took a deep breath. "My father," he said kindly, "this is the last food in my house." But a guest should never sleep hungry. He poured the porridge into 2 wooden bowls. "Please sit," he said. The old man slowly lowered himself beside the fire. The stranger looked at the bowl, then back at Kofi. "But you said this is your last meal." Kofi smiled. "If we share it, perhaps we'll forget our hunger." They ate together under the fading evening sky. The fire crackled softly between them, and a cool breeze moved through the dry grass. The old man looked at Kofi. "You shared your last food with a stranger." "Why?" Kofi replied. "A man's heart is measured by how much he gives." Suddenly, something strange happened. The wind grew still. The fire flame rose higher without burning the wood. The old man's posture straightened. "I am not just a traveler," the stranger said. "I am a spirit of the land, sent to see what lives inside their hearts. Many doors I knocked on today. Many had food, but their hearts were closed. Only you shared your last meal." The spirit lifted his walking stick and touched the dry ground. Such kindness must never go unrewarded. The earth beneath them trembled softly. In the distance, dark clouds slowly began gathering across the sky. Thunder rolled gently over the hills. Then, at last, rain began to fall. At first it was light, then it grew stronger, soaking the thirsty earth. Kofi fell to his knees in amazement. The spirit smiled. "Your fields will grow again, and your story will be told for generations." The next morning, the village woke to the sweet smell of wet soil. Within weeks, Kofi's farm became the greenest field in the entire village. His granary overflowed with food. But Kofi never forgot that evening. He always kept an extra bowl ready for any traveler. A generous heart never becomes poor. The hand that gives receives more than it expects.